Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today we will be taking a look at LEGO Harry Potter set number 75950, Aragog's Lair. This set comes with 157 pieces, 2 minifigures, and retails for around $15 in the United States. On July 1st, 2018, it was released exclusively at Target stores, and starting August 1st, it will be available everywhere. So, without further ado, let's just take a look at the set, starting with the minifigures. The first minifigure we get here is Harry Potter himself, who, in my opinion, looks pretty great. There is a slight problem with this figure, though, that I'll get to later. Well, not exactly with this figure, but you'll understand in it, and when I get to it. But, starting off, you can see that this figure does, of course, have short legs. This set is based off of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets when Harry was only 12, so I think that that's a fair choice. I guess, so the torso print looks pretty good. It has sort of a nice zip-up jacket design in dark blue, with sort of a lighter blue checked shirt underneath. It's a pretty nice print in my opinion. Sorry, I just hit my tripod. Around the back, you just have the continuation of that with the hood printed on the back. It's an alright design. Nothing too detailed, but it works pretty well. Harry has the same face that comes in all of the new sets, which I think looks pretty spot on for Daniel Radcliffe. I mean, the eyebrows are nice and thick, the eyes are just the right size. I like the two colors for the glasses. They use black and gunmetal gray, which is nice. And he also has his scar, which the hair parts around, which I think looks pretty good. And yeah, speaking of the hair, it's a brand new mold for this Harry minifigure, and it looks pretty awesome in my opinion. It has lots of detail around it, looks very messy, it's the right shape and length. Again, it parts around the scar, which is nice, and yeah, pretty cool hairpiece. And Harry does, of course, get an alternate face, which is a very frightened one, which I think works very well. I feel as though it does lose a bit of the likeness to Daniel Radcliffe, but at the same time, it does add a lot of character to this figure, and it's pretty great. It works pretty well for this scene as well, as he and Ron are about to get eaten by man-eating spiders. But anyway, in terms of accessories, Harry comes with 2, which are both very cool new pieces for these sets. The first one is the new candle piece, which, as you can see, it just fits into his hand with a little peg, and this is actually 2 pieces. The white part of the candle is 1 piece, and then you also have this flame, which is another. In my opinion, these are both some very awesome parts, and I'm really glad to get both here. Yeah, it's really cool. Harry's other accessory is the new wand piece in dark brown, and you do get an extra dark brown wand in this set as well, which is pretty cool. And if you haven't seen the new wands yet, basically it's a new piece. It's about 2.5 studs long. It's molded to have sort of the handle of the wand as well as the sort of the main shaft part, or getting slightly thinner towards the top. It looks very nice. And another cool thing about it is that you can actually pose it in 2 ways. You can have your figure just holding it straight up like this, but you can also, it can take a bit to get it to go in sometimes, but give me a second. Oh, there we go. You can also just have them hold it straight out as if to attack something, which I think looks pretty good. It's a great new mold, so glad that we're finally rid of having the figures cart around giant lightsaber blades in brown. So, yeah. Overall, that is the Harry Potter included with this set. A pretty awesome minifigure with some nice accessories. Although, you remember how a couple minutes ago I mentioned that this figure had a problem? Well, here's what it is. This figure is perfect for this set. This is the exact outfit Harry was wearing during this scene in the Chamber of Secrets. And the outfit is very well detailed. It's awesome. The problem here is that this figure is not exclusive to this set. This figure is also in set number 75955, the Hogwarts Express, which is rather unfortunate because not only is this outfit inaccurate to that set, which is from Prisoner of Azkaban, so that's a problem, but also it makes it that this set doesn't have any exclusive figures, because both Harry and Ron from this scene are also in the Express for no reason. So that's a bit annoying, and it does definitely devalue this set some, but overall, despite that, Harry is still a really awesome minifigure, and I really like him. This is, I'd say, one of the better variants of him to come in the sets. I really like the casual outfit he's got going on. So yeah, that is Harry Potter. So now let's move on to the only other minifigure in the set, Ron Weasley. Next up here we have Ron, who, just like Harry, does have some pretty cool new accessories. So I guess we'll start with those first. Starting off, he has the new wand piece, but this time in a regular brown instead of dark brown. That's nice, and again, you do get an extra regular brown wand. And then his other accessory is the new lantern piece, which is actually two pieces. All of the gunmetal gray is a single mold, and then you just put a trans yellow cylinder brick inside. And I think it looks pretty great. Obviously, it just has the handle on top for Ron to grab. And if you're curious, that sort of raised section on top, that's not a stud. It's too small to be one, and besides, you can't fit anything in there anyway, so even if it was a stud, there would be no point for it to be there. So, yeah. But anyway, moving the accessories out of the way, you can see that Ron here looks pretty good, I'd say. He has dark blue short legs, which are not a very common color for them, so that's nice. The torso is pretty accurate to the scene, I'd say. He has the printing for a black checkered zip-up shirt, which is pretty cool and accurate. You have a little zipper as well as a red undershirt. And that printing continues around the back, where you just have more of the checker detail. The problem is that, for some reason, this is printed onto a light bluish gray torso. I mean, personally, I feel as though this design would have worked better if it was on black. I don't know, I mean, it works either way, though. I mean, I feel as though, again, this does look good as it is. I just feel as though maybe black would have looked better as the base. I don't know, just a thought. Maybe they tried it in this and ended up looking better. I don't know, maybe they just did this to distinguish it from the 2002 Aragog set Ron, who, also in that set, the figures were specially designed for that scene, and in that set, Ron had a black torso with the checkered design, so I don't know what the reasoning is, but it still looks alright. You can see that Ron's hairpiece, unlike Harry's, is not a new mold. Instead, it's the modern Luke Skywalker hairpiece from episodes 4 and 5, just recolored into dark orange. Personally, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it's a bit too shaggy around the back, but I feel as though the bowl shape of most of it is pretty well, and it parts in exactly the perfect place for Ron's hair. So, yeah, I mean, this hairpiece isn't perfect, but except for the fact that, again, it is a bit shaggy around the bottom, but overall, most of the hairpiece looks so good that I think it was worth just reusing this instead of making a new mold. There would have been no point in a new mold. It would have just been this hairpiece, but so slightly different that it wouldn't even matter. Anyway, the face print for Ron, I feel, is perfect. It is absolutely one of, if not the best likeness LEGO has ever gotten to any actor, ever. This is perfect for young Rupert Grint. If I remove the hairpiece, you can see the rest of the face. I mean, it just looks perfect. The shape of the mouth, the smile, the freckles, the fact that one eye is slightly squinted. It looks perfect. You know what else is perfect? The alternate face, which, unlike Harry's alternate face, Ron's doesn't really break the likeness at all. If anything, this looks even more like Rupert Grint. This face being actually specifically designed for this scene, with the classic line of, "Can we panic now?" which, don't worry, I learned my lesson after the Whomping Willow review. I'm never going to try to imitate Ron again. It was terrible, and I apologize. But yeah, this is a really great face. I mean, the mouth is very wide open. The eyes are like half closed. It almost looks like he's about to cry, which is pretty accurate for when you have a phobia of spiders and you're about to be eaten by giant spiders. So, yeah. That is Ron Weasley as he appears in this set. Pretty awesome figure, although again, like Harry, he is also reused in the Hogwarts Express set incorrectly, which is quite annoying, but this is still a very nice figure, and I'm glad to get it here. It is very accurate to the scene, and Ron is the final figure in the set, so now let's move on to the builds here, starting with Aragog himself. So here we have Aragog, king of the Acromantulas, or in other words, giant spiders, and I think this is a very well done build. First off, just for scale, this is Harry next to him. So Aragog is about twice the height of a normal minifigure, and I think it works pretty well. I mean, he might be a bit undersized, but since Aragog never really gets up and close with our heroes, I think this size works pretty well. And they were able to get in a lot of detail at this size, so I think it worked pretty well. Starting off, you can see that he does have some new prints on the 1x1 round tiles for his eyes. They sort of have the gray printing around to sort of have, I guess, a lens, and then the eyes themselves are just jet black with the two white shines. They almost look like Brickhead's eyes in that way. Creepy, realistic Brickhead's eyes that at the same time look really cute, to be honest. This is a really cute giant spider, which is pretty neat. You can also see that he has a couple more eyes, one on each side of his head, which is pretty accurate, although I feel as though, as such, the model does look best if he's being viewed from sort of a diagonal angle, straight on from the side, or straight on from the front. He looks a bit off, so yeah, I would definitely try to get an eye on each side showing when you display this guy. Anyway, yeah. You can see at the front that he does have some pincers, as well as some hanging down. These two on the front can be articulated, so you could open them up or close them, which is nice. You can see that at the front you do have some nice angles here to sort of, like, you can see that they use, I don't know what you call it, it's not really a ship's wheel piece, but you know, the one that's sort of four-sided crank, that's sort of just used as the base for most of the head, and I think it works pretty well. And again, you have the two fangs down there as well. It looks pretty good. The whole eye section is just angled on one of these pieces, so you can fold it up if you're a madman, and I guess there you can get a bit of a better look at the mechanism that goes into this. Personally, if I have one complaint with the colors here, I wish that, I wish that the little dark gray piece here could have maybe been black instead, so it didn't stand out so much, but it's alright, I guess. You can see Aragog's abdomen at the back is well-shaped. I think it looks pretty good. Like, we didn't try to print any hair on it this time like they did the 2010 version, but with the 2010 version, it looked like he just had an abdomen made of wood grain, so I think this is fine. Anyway, you can see that for Aragog, he does, of course, have 8 legs, and these just have the Exoforce arm piece and the Chima spider leg piece, and because of that, this guy doesn't have too much articulation. Like, I've already shown off the pincers, and you can also hinge the abdomen up if you want to. Can't see a reason to, but you certainly can do that. But the only other articulation is that the legs can each move up and down some, and they can also sort of twist. I mean, I think it would have been cool if maybe instead of using the Chima legs, they could have maybe done something with maybe some hinges, so you could have had maybe 2 joints in there instead of just the one, but it's still alright. And I mean, for the scale, the Chima spider legs do add a bunch of nice extra detail here, which is pretty good. And they just make him look more like a spider, so I guess it's sort of a trade-off. He doesn't have as much posability as he maybe could have, but at the same time, he does look a lot better, so yeah. And overall, that is really all I have to say about Aragog. He's not very large, but he is just about the right size. I mean, he is huge for a spider, just not very large in essence. Like, again, if I just bring Harry back in, you can see that while he is much larger than a figure, it's not like he's ginormous, which is good. He has good detailing for his size, some posability. Yeah, Aragog's pretty nice. I like him. Now let's move on to his Lair, as the set's name would lead you to believe. Now, Aragog's lair here is basically just one tree from the Forbidden Forest, but I think this looks pretty cool. But before we get to the tree, we do have to talk about a couple of other things we get here. Those being these little spiders. Starting off, we have a nougat-colored spider. You get 3 of them in this set. This is the newer spider mold that I believe originated in the Lego City Jungle sets. As far as I know, this is the only set to get the spider in nougat, so it's nice to get 3 in this one set. As you can see, sculpted on, it has several eyes, the 8 legs, which look much more realistic than the ones on the old spider, the abdomen, some pincers. Yeah, this is a really nice mold, and I'm glad to get 3 here in this exclusive color. You also get 2 black spiders, which only come here, and then you get 1 in the Great Hall set. And this is the same mold, just black. It's pretty nice. And as you can see, you have 1 of each spider attached to the build, and then you just also have the 1 black and 2 nougat spiders that you can just have off to the side doing whatever you want. But moving on to the build, I guess we'll start with the 2 spiders. On the right, you can see that the black one is just attached to the large Lego spider web piece. But on the left, the one is a bit more interesting, the nougat spider, which is hanging by a strand of web. And if I pull that off, you can see that what it's actually attached to is just sort of, if I can get the spider off, the connection there is a bit tight. Anyway, you can see that it's just attached to the little Lego sort of little sign piece, handheld minifigure sign. It's nice. I mean, yeah, it's a good part use. I'm glad that they didn't just attach this guy to another web. Having this guy hanging by a strand is a very unique way of displaying him. Yeah, I like it. As for the rest of the lair, you can see that there is a lot of foliage growing around the tree. You have a couple of leaves on the right and the new stalk piece. You have a mushroom on the left, as well as a large leaf piece and a little stalk on the back of there. And then up on top for the tree leaves, you just have a couple of the olive green branch pieces and another 2 more of the new leaf pieces, which is nice. And this build does have a play feature, and if you can tell what it was already, you have a little flick missile actuator back here, and yeah, flick missiles, those are still a thing. I actually think it's sort of an interesting idea, because basically you just push in or flick that piece, and, well, obviously if you flick it, it'll go farther, but maybe if I try a bit harder, I'll be able to actually get it to clear the floor at least. There we go, that was satisfactory, and you can see that this is just the flick missile piece, and printed on it we have this clear radar dish, which has a printed 2x2. Let me restart that sentence because I said everything out of order. And on the missile, we have a 2x2 radar dish printed with some nice web detailing, which looks very cool, and I really like this print. Inside of the tree, though, it is a bit awkward how when you fire the web off, you just have gray in there. I think it would have looked better if maybe they'd made that piece brown. I guess they try to explain it because there are a couple of rocks around that section, so I guess that's just supposed to be rocks, but I think it would have looked better if that was part of the tree trunk. But anyway, just putting that back in, this is the last build of the set, and that is all I have to say about it, so I guess let's move on to the final verdict of Aragog's Lair. I apologize for that, I just smacked my studio. Anyway, but actually no, before we move on to the final verdict, let's take a look at the set's box and extra pieces first. Being a small $15 set, Aragog's Lair has a small $15 size box, which I think looks pretty good. You have sort of an action shot of Harry and Ron facing off against Aragog and the spiders, and with the tree in the background. Then on the top left, you have the Lego Harry Potter logo. Top right, you have Harry, Ron, and Hermione using art from Order of the Phoenix, interestingly, even though all of these sets are from the first 3 films, so that's an odd choice. Bottom right, you have the Wizarding World logo, although due to the set's small box size, I guess, Lego did for this box remove the sort of images showing the minifigures included in the bottom left. So that's alright, I guess. On the top, again, since it's so small, we don't have room to have both figures displayed in action poses, so we just have Harry sporting the actual size reference. Here on the back, it's pretty simple. It just shows off the web shooting feature as well as Aragog's articulation. Yeah, pretty fine box. So now let's move on to the final verdict. Why do I keep saying that? Now let's move on to the extra pieces, and then we can move on to the final verdict. For being a set of only $15, this set comes with a ton of really cool extra pieces. But first off, here you can see the bracket piece that the wands are packaged on. Basically, this bracket holds 1 wand on each side, so it holds a total of 2 wands, obviously, which are just attached in a couple places to the bracket. Then you just snap the wands off to give them to figures. Pretty simple, but it's an alright design, and I don't mind it really, because you get an extra wand with each figure. So yeah, speaking of the extras themselves, you do get an extra dark brown wand for Harry. You get an extra brown wand for Ron, and well, again, those are just the characters they're from. Obviously, you could give these wands to any of your figures. Then for other cool pieces, you have the new stock piece. You have the new candle flame piece, which is really cool to get an extra of. You have sort of this 1x1 round stud with a hole in the middle in brown, which is just sort of a cool color to get it in. It's a new color. It's only appeared here in the Whomping Willow and in a couple of Minecraft sets, so not a very common piece thus far in this color, and it's cool to get. Just a more useful color for that very useful piece. And here you also get another printed Aragog eye, which is very cool. And I mean, the other extra pieces are fine too, but those are the real cool ones. So, yeah. If it'll focus, those are the extra pieces for Aragog's Lair. So now let's move on to the final verdict for this pretty cool set. So overall, what do I think of Aragog's Lair? It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's only $15, but that price is very worth it because you get 2 great, well-detailed figures, a ton of cool accessories, all of which are new molds for the Harry Potter sets, some newly colored versions of the newer spider piece, that great 2x2 web disc, Aragog's Eyes. You get a lot of cool specialized pieces for this set. Some exclusive here, some are exclusive to the Harry Potter line in general. All cool to get. And honestly, I would recommend this set even to people who aren't big Harry Potter fans, because even if you're not a fan of the series, you can still appreciate all the great parts in this set. I mean, those new hair pieces, one newly molded, one newly colored, both good to get. The wands in 2 different colors. The new candle, the new lamp. Aragog's eyes and some of the other parts that go into him, like the legs. The new spiders, some of the new foliage pieces. I mean, again, this set is great for Harry Potter fans. It's from a recognizable scene and it's well detailed. For non-fans, you still get a ton of awesome pieces that could help you to build mocks, or you could just, heck, you could probably find a way to integrate these into some other mocks. Like, if you have a Lego The Hobbit mock or Lord of the Rings mock, for example, you could just put these in the Forest of Mirkwood and nothing would look out of place. Just an idea. But yeah, so overall, this is a really great set, and I would recommend you get it. If you're only going to get one set, I mean, I would recommend one of the larger ones over this. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you don't have the budget to get, let's say, the Whomping Willow or the Great Hall or Hogwarts Express, then this is a perfectly fine alternative. I would definitely recommend this. If you're only going to get one set, I would recommend this over Grindelwald's Escape and probably even the Quidditch set, to be honest. This just works really well as a standalone. You get the 2 main characters, a ton of different accessories that are new molds. Yeah, this is just an awesome set, and I would definitely recommend it. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Farewell.